Hey everybody, so we just got some huge signing news this evening as the Colorado Avalanche have re-signed forward Valeri Nichushkin to a massive 8-year contract extension. This is a big deal, and we're going to get into the details right now. Hey everybody, so we've got some big signing news tonight as the Colorado Avalanche and forward Valeri Nichushkin have agreed to an 8-year contract extension at a little bit over $6 million per season, keeping Nichushkin off the free agent market and in an Avalanche uniform. We take a look at the deal here. Pierre LeBrun was all over it, that the Cup champion Avalanche have agreed to an 8-year extension with Nichushkin. $49 million for an AAV, annual value of $6.125 million per season. And Nichushkin, with the way that he played last year, certainly worthy of a contract like this at $6.125 million. However, last year was by far his best NHL season, and the big question now becomes, can he repeat that year after year? Is that the player that he is all the time now, or are we going to see some drop-off from Nichushkin? Is he going to be able to do that again? Now, if Nichushkin can continue to play the way that he did last season, he's well worth this cap hit. He's a great defensive player. He's great on the forecheck. He does a lot of really good things all over the ice. And then obviously had a great offensive year points-wise as well. But if he drops back a little bit and drops off and maybe doesn't get the points production that he did this past season, that's where I think this contract does run a little bit of risk for the Colorado Avalanche. But let's take a look at Nichushkin here. He's 27 years old. He was a 10th overall pick back in 2013 by Dallas. People forget that Nichushkin was taken as high as he was because his career got off to a very up and down start. But like I said, last year he really found his game for the first time at this level, where he became a very important and impactful top six player. Big body, 6'4", 210 pounds, and certainly is learned how to use it as far as going to the net, as far as getting it on the forecheck, as far as winning board battles. And those were things that early in his career he maybe didn't have yet, and he wasn't using to his advantage yet, but has certainly found that part of his game now, especially over the past couple years with Colorado. And I think that's a big reason why we've seen such an improvement in Nichushkin's overall production in game over the last few years, is because he is really bought into what he needs to do to be a successful NHL player and using that body to his advantage and becoming a successful NHL player. And, he's still a guy right in the prime of his career. He's got great size. He's a pretty versatile forward that you can play in different spots up and down the lineup, but certainly was a top six guy for Colorado this past season, and a very, very important one. If we look at what he did last year, 62 games played, career best 25 goals, 52 points, which is also a career best, his first ever 50-point season. He was a plus 21. He had a great postseason as well with 9 goals and 6 assists for 15 points in 20 playoff games as well. And he was playing injured. Obviously, we know that, came out during the final, the severe foot injury that he played through in the final against Tampa. Really gutsy performance from Nichushkin. And again, the numbers don't tell the whole story because there are so many little things in his game that are really valuable as well, particularly his defensive play. He's a great defensive forward. And then, like I said, the forechecking, the play in front of the net, the winning the board battles, he's really learned and improved those areas of his game immensely over the past couple of years. If we look at him on a kind of a year-by-year basis, he came in with Dallas, had a very solid rookie season, and then things kind of dropped off for him with Dallas, ended up having a lot of issues, left the Stars for a while. He was gone from 2016 until 2018. He went back and played in Europe, came back, one more season in Dallas, didn't even score a goal in the 2018-19 season. ends up in Colorado, kind of gets a new lease on life, a second chance with the Avalanche starting in 2019-2020. Had a pretty solid third-line level season, 13 goals, 27 points, was a plus 26, and that's where we really started to see the defensive part of his game shine through as he became a very solid defender and had 21 points in 55 games in the shortened 2021 season, then just absolutely exploded this past season and became a legitimate top 6 winger that, you know, had 25 goals, first 20-goal season in his career, and also his first 50-point season in his career with 52 points and a massive plus 21 as well, as, again, the defensive part of his game really shone through. And, again, this contract, $6.125 million for a guy like Nichushkin, who's great in all 3 zones, and obviously, you know, if he can keep up the 25 goals and 50 points, he's well worth it. There's no question that if he can keep that up, he's well worth it. My question is, does Nichushkin keep up the 25 goals and 50-plus points, or does he kind of revert back to that, like, 30-ish, 40-ish point guy? You know, he had a 34-point season his rookie year. He had a 29-point season. He had a 27-point season. If he kind of falls back to that, then this is going to end up being an overpayment. However, I have a lot of confidence that on a team as good as the Colorado Avalanche, and with him kind of right in that prime point of his career at 27 years old, that at least for the next few years, the first few years of this contract, he is going to remain in that 50-ish point area and continue to be a very solid top 6 player for the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know what this contract is going to look like come year 6, 7, and 8, but for Colorado, they're not worried about year 6, 7, and 8. This is a team that just won the Stanley Cup. This particular player was very important to your cup run, and you're trying to maintain that level for the next couple of years, the foreseeable future. It is very important for Colorado that they remain not just a cup contender, but a cup favorite for the next 2, 3, 4 years. So that's what they're worried about, is keeping as many of these guys around as they can and keeping these guys performing at a high level for the next few years. They're not worried about years 6, 7, and 8 down the line. Things will be very different then. Colorado's worried about trying to repeat and win the Stanley Cup again next year. And Val Nichushkin gives them a better chance to win the Stanley Cup with him on the roster than him leaving as a free agent. So I totally understand why Colorado was willing to go out and do a deal like this because of how important Nichushkin was for their cup run. They just need to keep him performing at the level that he did last season. If Nichushkin does that, he's going to be fine for at least the next few years, and this is going to end up being a fine deal, at least in the beginning. If he drops off, you could run into some problems there. But Colorado's got some big decisions to make. Nichushkin was a pending free agent. Kadri's pending free agent. Looks like he's probably not coming back. Andrei Burakovsky, also pending free agent. They couldn't lose everybody. They needed to lock it down and keep at least one of those guys. Nichushkin seems to be their top choice, or at least the guy that they were able to come to an agreement on, and Nichushkin is staying in Colorado. So that's what I've got on Val Nichushkin's new contract with the Avalanche. I do think it being such a big deal does run a little bit of risk. I think every time you give out a contract that's 8 years long, there's some risk there. And when you're paying somebody north of $6 million, they need to continue performing at a high level. And they could, unfortunately drop into the overpaid category rather quickly if they don't. However, with Nichushkin coming off his career best season, a great two-way player, and still just 27 years old, I think there's a good chance Nichushkin, at least for the early part of this contract, is well worth it. And certainly the Colorado Avalanche are a better team with him in the lineup than him not on the roster. So that's what I've got, guys. That's my opinion. And he was a very important player during the Cup run. I want to see him continue to be that 50-point guy. If he does that, this is going to work out pretty well for Colorado. So that's what I've got on the Nichushkin contract. Thank you guys so much for watching. And with that, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our merchandise store, membership, and donations are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys soon.